The opinions in this podcast are all our own.
But the businesses are real chamber members.
It's a chamber chat.
Coming to you from Wahoo, Nebraska. Chamber Chat with Kate
And Kat.
Welcome to Chamber Chat with Kate.
And Kat. I'm Catherine Nygren, owner of Found and Flora Flower Shop.
And I'm Kate DeCoste, owner of Kate DeCoste Photography. This podcast is everything Wahoo Chamber of Commerce.
Well, Kate, we have another guest in the studio.
We sure do.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi. For those that don't know, it's Chris Rappl, council member for Ward 2
Correct.
here in Wahoo.
That's right.
See if I get all the words out.
Yes, yes.
So it's always nice to have Chris on the podcast because there's a lot of things that happen in the city level that, we just kind of maybe hear about at coffee or,
Right.
kind of
Right.
through the grapevine. But it's really nice that we had a whole conversation before we even hit record.
Yeah.
You peppered him with all of our questions. So thank you for
I'm ready now.
answering those.
Yeah. So one thing we wanted to address is we did have somebody comment on a previous podcast that we put on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And the question was, what's going on by the Casey's on the highway?
Right. Well,
Like what's going on around it, I guess.
Mhm.
what's going on around
Is
it?
maybe, yeah, I don't know if I said it word for word of their
Well,
question,
I
but
understand that
Mhm.
that particular area, that dry run area, is being developed by JEO, and currently the preliminary dirt work is taking place, so the infrastructure can be put in,
Mhm.
and they can start developing the lots.
Okay. And that's something that had to come before city council,
Right.
like the platting part and like the whole
Right.
process.
After it was zoned, and then the platting process had to be accepted,
Mhm.
and once that's accepted, then a construction agreement can be made, and then the crews can come in and start doing their job.
Okay.
nice.
Yeah,
So kind of get that, like, there's stuff that can happen, but right now we don't know what's going to be
Right.
going to be there.
Mhm.
Right. There are two lots that are directly spoken for that
Mhm.
that are going to be worked on first,
Oh, okay.
but I'm not for certain what is going in that location.
hmm Yeah, I heard it's kind of a tight-lipped secret. I think it's kind of between JEO and the companies that they've got to come in.
Right.
And as long as they're following all the zoning laws and, everything that the
Correct.
city set out that,
Right. I can safely say by the size of the lots, it's
Mhm.
not going to be a big box store.
okay.
Okay.
So if anybody's thinking Walmart's coming in, that's probably not the case.
Right.
We can cross that one off.
Right. That's right.
So I noticed that you got different council meetings. Can we talk about like a city council meeting?
Sure.
I saw on last week's agenda you had a work session meeting. Can
Correct.
you tell us like what a work session is versus a regular city council meeting?
Well, a work session meeting, to really simplify, is actually a city council meeting. It's official because we're all there
Mhm.
with city administrator, with the mayor, with everybody involved, and it could be a meeting that are recorded and that decisions can actually be made.
Okay.
This particular meeting was a discussion on facilities, and this allows us to discuss openly options and what is going on.
And when you talk about facilities, is that the whole process of, so the police department is now in that house behind Burger King, the
Right.
city office is now over on Linden Street, like that whole process of
Right.
moving buildings around?
Right. We're talking about just the options that we have as a city to accommodate all of our many departments
Mm-hmm.
and future growth.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And so this work session meeting, you said it's open to the public so people can come watch.
Right.
You record it. It's
Right.
all out in the open.
Exactly.
Because when we talked about a quorum a little bit earlier, which I
Right.
think is interesting. So if there's, city council, 6 people, and if you have 4 people together, you can make decisions.
That's right. That's right. So that almost leads to another topic. We have subcommittees that we're all assigned to,
Okay.
and we're all assigned in groups of 3. So we can't make a decision on behalf of the council.
Mhm.
So yes, we need to when we get together for the work session, it's all of us there in official capacity,
Mhm.
and all it takes is 4 to be together to have a quorum. We're all assigned committees.
Okay.
When we join the council. Generally, if there's an opening, you just fill in who was there previously.
Mhm.
But we have a general committee, we have a street committee, finance committee, and facilities committee, as well as Parks and Rec committee.
Oh, okay.
And so we're all assigned. So I believe I'm on three or four committees. So
Uh-huh.
we don't meet as often or as regular as we do with the city council, but that's time when we get to work with each other a little bit. We'll get ideas from the public, or we'll address concerns that maybe were brought to City Hall. Specifically, we recently had a general committee meeting where it was brought up that maybe we need to look at our nuisance laws.
Okay.
And not to add to them, but maybe make sure that they are adequate and make sure that they're fine-tuned to where we need to be. And it allows us to have some good open discussion with each other. And we're not actually making decisions, but it gives us some leverage and some ability to go approach city staff and have additional information found and more discussion later. So with winter getting over, sometimes nuisance concerns come up because grass starts growing, trees start getting bigger.
I was just going to ask you what some of the examples of a nuisance is.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of it, for example, is appearance. But we also need to take in consideration sometimes what might bother one person might not be a nuisance
An
to
actual
somebody else. Right. So this allows us to maybe explore what other communities of our size are doing. And the last thing we want to do is have a rule book that's 12 volumes thick of you may not do X, you may not do Y.
Right.
So a lot of it is subjective, but maybe we need to remove some subjectivity out of it. So it's been good conversation, and there's going to be more to come.
So for the nuisance, is that more for like residential areas, or is that for the whole city?
That's a good question. The concerns that were brought up were more for residential.
Okay.
But I know that there are also questions that would affect maybe downtown and downtown facilities and vacancies and how long they can sit vacant, or those are good points too. So
Yeah. I was just I'm like,
yeah, that is a good question. If it's all through the town, or is it just like grass mostly? You know,
Right.
Well, you think a lot of the nuisances really tend to be maybe my neighbor's grass is knee high, but there's more than that, and we need to be sure that it's not a safety or public concern.
Sure.
And maybe it is just tall grass, but there's other things to be aware of too, and we are actively have other information that we're seeking for clarity. So, like I said, there'll be more to come on that here in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if anybody has any questions about a nuisance, if they think that maybe their neighbor or that, if they have
maybe
a question,
they think that I'm like, I'm a nuisance.
Yes. Am I the nuisance?
Am I the yeah?
Where can they go to ask those questions?
Well, that's a great question, and contacting City Hall right now is the best first step.
Okay.
And if something needs to be investigated or look deeper, Travis Beavers will get involved, and from there, if additional steps need to be taken, then they can be. But that's a great question. I'm going to maybe push our website, wahoo.ne.us. There's so much information on there.
Okay.
If you get out there and click around a little bit, there is quite a bit, and including the number and contact for City Hall. And all of us on City Council, our information's on there as well as the all the many subcommittees that we're a part of as well too.
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Well, and I noticed before our meeting, I was looking for, past agendas and kind of some of the topics you've been talking about.
Right.
The first one I was reading was the Airport Commission.
Right.
Their minutes. I was like, why is this all about airports? I'm like, wow, you guys have really been talking about the runways.
Right.
And I realized it was the airport, authorities minutes,
Well,
an
not
agenda,
the
not the city
Okay.
councils, but that was found online too.
Well, let me
there
add
you
to
go.
that. Then when you're on there exploring, make sure you go to the Public Works section, and you'll see all of those minutes as well. I'm on the Board of Public Works. And that meeting is the third Wednesday every month at the library. So 7:00. Also open to the public.
Okay. When you say the Board of Public Works, that's something that I'm not familiar with.
Okay.
Like, what are the things that the Board of Public Works does?
Think of utilities.
Okay.
That's Wahoo Utilities.
Okay.
And Ryan Hurst is our general manager. And I know he's been on your show.
Yes.
before, so, okay. I'm on the board, which is a citizen committee, basically.
Okay.
As a governing board to keep Wahoo Utilities general manager in check. Work in concert with him, help set policy. We approve rate increases, and we are privy to, of course, the plan and direction the city's going.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want to read more agendas and minutes, they're there too. There's lots to see there, and there's more coverage there than what you would get probably from a local paper. We've had great reporters from the local paper over the years that would come to our meetings. That just doesn't happen anymore.
Sure.
And Kelly has done a great job with Wahoo Online so, with his broadcast of all of our meetings to really include a lot of people. I probably hear more about our meetings now from people that actually watch it. Maybe not live, but maybe within the week following. And I've actually gotten some great feedback. I've had people call or approach and say, hey, you guys talked about this at the last meeting. What does that mean to me?
Okay.
So that's been great. I've enjoyed the interaction and a chance to maybe even clarify what we were thinking at the time. So
Right.
And you can find Kelly's videos for Saunders County Online on his YouTube channel.
Right.
And he does them live, and then otherwise you can watch them, like you said, recorded afterwards.
Right. I find myself, I'll go back to other meetings and maybe catch something later. I'll have it playing in the background.
Oh, really?
No, definitely. Because if I'm taking notes or if I'm maybe reading up ahead on the next talking point, maybe I'll miss something. And, so I just try to get as much as I can when I go back and listen to it later, or I'll get clarification that way as well too. And again, all of our meetings are all open to the public, and we do enjoy the public interaction.
And now a message from one of our chamber champions.
Okay, Kat, real question. When it comes to your financial goals, what matters more, the plan or the person helping you get there?
Ooh, it's got to be the person. I mean, the plan is great, but if you don't trust who you're working with,
Right? Like, I want someone who actually gets my life.
exactly, like bankers who aren't just bankers, they're your neighbors
The ones who understand what's going on in your world.
and care about where you're headed next.
That's what you get with Union Bank and Trust.
Because there, your money has people.
Member FDIC.
So people can just come listen to the meeting, and if they want to get on the agenda or if they want to talk to the council about something, how would they go about that?
We do at the very beginning of the meeting have an opportunity for public mic, basically,
Okay.
where they can come talk about something that's not on the agenda. To get on the agenda, contact City Hall
Okay.
and get on the agenda
Okay.
with an agenda item. I guess I will say about that, be prepared to explain what it is that you would like to be on the agenda for, and that can all be documented as well.
So you don't have to do anything. You could just show up and speak on the open mic, or if you want to be on the agenda. So what would be the difference between, like, why would somebody want to be on the agenda? Is that like a votable item, or like what would be the advantage of being on the agenda if you really felt passionate about something?
I think you actually nailed it right there. If it's just public comment, action cannot be taken. We're more in a listening mode. Or engaging with what you have, what's brought to the table. Yes, exactly.
Where if something needs to have a vote on to say, yes, you can do this, or no, you can't, you need to be on the agenda.
And some of the agenda items, if somebody's wanting to get on the agenda, they might have to do it in conjunction with maybe with building, with codes, with Travis. So there'll be a different form for them, and it'll be more of a chance for that constituent to speak as to why they want to make a change, or maybe not conform to what is expected.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That does make sense.
But we've had people come in to share thoughts, maybe even on nuisance. At the very beginning of a meeting, to have the public comment. And I think it's a good way to be heard and also be recorded, like that you are there taking the time, bringing a concern to the council.
Right.
Now remind me, when somebody goes up to the microphone and is explaining their thing, are you guys able to like interact and talk, or is it just a completely listening thing? Are you guys?
There's interactions. We'll ask questions. It is mostly for listening, but because we cannot make a decision or change, if somebody comes to the beginning of the meeting to have their comment and they're unhappy with their neighbor's grass being tall, we can maybe direct them to the right resources, or have Travis go check it out. But we can't say, we're going to send an order to your neighbor right now. Yeah, it's more to be listening time and to be heard. Sure.
Nice. And so then what's the difference between, so you've got a work meeting. I've also heard things about closed sessions. Like when the city council goes into a closed session, what's the difference between like a work meeting and then a closed session?
That's a great question. At the very end of some meetings, and it happens occasionally throughout the year, we'll enter into a closed session, and everybody in the audience is asked to leave. Cameras are shut off. It's still the full board with the mayor, generally the city administrator, as well as city council. And legal counsel.
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
City attorney.
Yep, exactly. And oftentimes we'll talk about things that are personnel or maybe even maybe real estate related things that if we talk about too soon, it could be detrimental to an outside party, whether it's personnel or maybe even talking about future property. Things will change. So that's when we can make decision. We can talk and get information, but we cannot actually make a decision. Decision will have to be made in an open meeting at another time, and on there if one needs to be made. Sometimes it's just informational.
Okay.
For example, this is happening. We just want you to be aware if it's.
Sure.
I think that's really interesting that you can't make any decisions behind closed doors.
We can't.
You know, like everything has to be out in the open, recorded in minutes. Like you can't close the door and make a bunch of decisions
We can't.
without the public there. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that goes back to our subcommittees that we're on. There's only 3 of us on each one, so we can't make a binding decision for the council. And even after hours, we really should not gather in a group because if we have a quorum, technically a binding decision could be made. So so we're extremely cautious. We don't get caught in those situations. And really, with everything, all the decisions that are made by the council are made in a public setting.
Got it.
And in a recorded setting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Recorded. If the video is not recording, maybe I should be clear that there's minutes being taken.
There's something
Right.
is recording.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Get the city clerk there, Christina, on hand
Christina,
to like.
and she
I
does
can't
a great job.
imagine how she keeps up with all the notes every time.
and behind the scenes that our city staff does for the constituents, for the city of Wahoo, for the council. The city staff is really fantastic.
And again, you guys meet every other Tuesday.
Yep, the second and the fourth Tuesday.
Okay, at 7 p.m.
At 7 p.m. at the library. Then I'm not sure of the airport committee meeting, but
Yes.
the Board of Public Works is the third Wednesday at 7 p.m. at the library. And then throughout the weeks that we don't have city council, it's when we have the other subcommittee meetings. So,
Okay.
so there really is quite a bit that happens kind of behind the scenes leading up to, before and around city council meetings with other committee work as well.
Well, and I like that too. So if you do have something that you want to bring it to an agenda, you don't have to be like, okay, they don't meet until this. Like you have 2 chances every month.
Right.
So it's a lot easier to get in front of you.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
Absolutely. And what I like about the subcommittee meetings going back there, for example, the street department that I'm on with Joe, he'll get us caught up when we have those meetings. This is what the crew's been working on. This is what we foresee happening. And this is before the next meeting in the next quarter, this is what I'd like to get done. So, and at that time, that's maybe when, if somebody gets a hold of me, I'll take those questions or concerns to Joe. I'll say, by the way, I spoke with Mr. and Mrs. Constituent, and this is their concern. So that they're a little more informal setting, but really a lot of information gets passed and shared.
Yeah, it's a good time to touch base, like on a smaller group, and
Absolutely.
be able to have those conversations. I can imagine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, this was great information.
Yeah, I was trying to think if there's anything that we had talked about before we jumped on camera to
I know.
we'll say it in the
We
recording.
need to write these down so we can remember. Next
I
time.
know.
We should.
Or just hit record.
Yes. Well, yeah, I always think it's so fascinating what goes on and all the decisions and, kind of how it shapes and how when you think about city government, I always think it's like, kind of like untouchable or like that's a whole nother like level.
Right.
And it's really approachable.
I would
The
say
people
that's-
are approachable. The
that's-
process is approachable. It's just familiarizing yourself
Right.
with how to do it.
Right.
And I hope we shared some information today that will help everybody learn that as well. There's a lot that takes place leading up to a meeting. But actually at the meeting, that's when a lot of things get done. So
Yeah, well, there's a lot of exciting things happening in our town, so it's kind of fun to be involved.
Our town's growing and changing. And to be part of that is really exciting. That's one of the draws that brought me to the city council is I want to know how I can help, how I can be part of it. So, yes.
Nice.
Love it. Well, Chris, thanks so much for being on again. And
Yeah.
we'll have you back at
I'll come
some
back.
point.
I'll-
Yeah. And everybody listening or watching, thank you. And don't forget
To keep it local, friends.
This has been a Chamber Chat
With Kate,
and Kat.
see you next time.